Now let's talk about the glaring issues with the whole premise of the film of these people going to this planet. Let's look at it from the space jockey's perspective. Here are the facts. So they're supposed to be this ancient alien type civilization which helped develop mankind and make us what we are today. They're engineers. Okay, I got that. So we see all these cave drawings from around the world. These people are like, we have to go. Oh, you gotta come to this star system. Okay, so this hurts my brain to think about, but let's do it. So these ancient aliens told ancient man about the star system that they're not even from, where they just have a military installation where they're making biological weapons. But then again, these biological weapons are getting ready 2,000 years ago to be delivered to Earth when some cataclysmic event happened to them, shit got fucked up, and they couldn't make it. So what was Prometheus really about? Well, it was an exploration of faith and philosophy, all within the context of a sci-fi horror film. Incredibly ambitious film. Ridley Scott made this movie to explore all these questions. What is our purpose? Where did we come from? Who created us? What happens when we die? It's fun to solve a puzzle, except when half the pieces are missing. So all this was definitely intended to mean something, but what does it mean? They're asking you to do math here, basically, philosophical math. And the equation, in the end, just doesn't add up. Some of the elements of this equation that are plugged in are theories that you need to know about, such as the ancient astronaut stuff. Ancient Aliens, I fucking love that show. I'm familiar with these fucking theories, and I kind of believe half of them. B, you need to know about Christian philosophy, which I do. I was born and raised in the Bible Belt. I've done a lot of time at church. Also, you need to be familiar with Lovecraft, which I am. I have a Necronomicon tattoo in my armpit. I'm not a noob to philosophical sci-fi. Okay, I've read The Mountains of Madness. I got it right here. I own the book. God, there's so much homework to do with this fucking movie trying to figure it out. One part of the philosophical theme work of this film is Lovecraftianism. Lovecraft is the master of cosmic horror. Cosmic horror is essentially when someone digs to find answers to the big questions, such as the questions that Ridley Scott is posing, and there's a thin shell of reality, and they'll break through that reality, and they'll find their answers, and it will drive them insane. The Mountains of Madness deals with a lot of the same themes, and it's a very similar story to Prometheus. So similar, in fact, that Guillermo del Toro was supposed to make a Mountains of Madness movie at the same time that Prometheus was going to come out, but somehow Ridley Scott stopped him from doing that because the two movies would be too similar for his like. Keep in mind, The Mountains of Madness was written in like 1936. These are but a few pieces of the puzzle that you need to understand, but that doesn't change the fact that half of the other puzzle pieces are missing. You can't ever solve this equation, okay? It's unsolvable. So, pieces of the equation that we do know are a space Jesus theory. So here's an element out of left field. It's called Space Jesus. The Space Jesus piece of the puzzle is surprisingly kind of huge, and it connects a lot of things a little bit better. So here are the facts. 2,000 years ago, Space Jesus is supposed to be an emissary of the engineers. He was taken to Earth, born there, whatever, to help us humans out, because I guess we were kind of getting a little off track in their opinion. We end up sacrificing him. That angers the engineers, so they are going to send us this payload of the black goo, I guess, to murder us, biological weapon to get rid of us because we disgusted them by sacrificing this emissary of peace. Which kind of explains one thing, which is not explained in the context of this film. And think about it, it makes sense because the ship has been there for 2,000 years. Well, guess who else was there 2,000 years ago? Jesus. Also, the whole story revolves around Christmas, so there's that whole allusion to Christianity in it too. There's also the cross that Dr. Shaw wears, as well as a virgin birth. Keep in mind, she couldn't have kids, and then all of a sudden she could have a kid, but then she had a cesarean.
We are now 3 months into the year of our Lord, 2023.
Apparently, the planet LV-223 is supposed to correspond to a verse in the Bible, Leviticus 22:3. Somebody got wind of something about maybe Ridley was thinking that Jesus was one of the engineers and asked him about it in some sort of interview, and he said yes. A link to his article is in the description. So there's a conspiracy out there, and I'm gonna cite it only because it makes sense within the context of this film. The US government's Red Book is an above top secret document that details the true history of the human race on planet Earth. It is a human compendium of information derived from extraterrestrials who offered the US undeniable proof of historical events. One of the relations exposed in the Red Book is that Jesus Christ was a creation of one particular alien group, EBE-2. Jesus was a genetically engineered human-alien hybrid sent to Earth to teach the primitive humans a lesson of love and tolerance. As writer Arthur C. Clarke said, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. This wasn't the first time that extraterrestrials tried to influence human affairs. Previously, they successfully appeared to Moses as a burning bush and dumped the Ten Commandments on mankind. The aliens thought the Christ Project would be no different, but needless to say, their little experiment went horribly awry. Supposedly, the EBE-2s were pretty damn pissed when they came back to check on Jesus' progress, only to find that humans had killed him. And I'm not saying I believe this or Ridley Scott believes this, but this is a science fiction theory that makes sense with the plot. His theory of the space Jesus deal really ties a lot of the stuff together. It glues some of the themes together, but it still doesn't glue all of it together. It's a big piece of the puzzle, but it's not the whole puzzle. Even if the space Jesus thing is true, you would never come up with this on your own. You would have to randomly find this article by this random guy. I'm a pretty smart cookie, and that shit escaped me completely. But I guess somebody could think of this. I mean, that's totally possible. I'm not the smartest person in the world, but if you're a conspiracy theorist like me, you might think that old Ridley Scott, upon viewing his film, was like, oh my god, like no one's gonna know what the fuck this means. Like everyone's gonna fucking hate me. So what he did was he got in disguise and he went on the internet and he's like, I gotta get this article out so they'll know what I'm talking about. I gotta put Space Jesus in there. We just fucking didn't put that in there because we pussed out. God, I'm such a fucking mistake. Potentially, you could come to the conclusion that the Space Jesus was just a little bit too controversial and could have cast a negative pall over the whole film, and they didn't want any negativity possible or otherwise, so they just cut it, and maybe we'll get it back in like a director's cut? Who knows? But even then, it still doesn't connect the whole thing, even with this knowledge of Space Jesus. The meaning isn't in the movie. I just want Ridley Scott to tell me what he was trying to say. All the questions that Ridley Scott has asked in this movie have been asked in all sorts of other literature and movies that I've watched that I understand. Just wait till Flex Mentallo, okay? Flex Mentallo is the opposite of Prometheus, where it poses all the same questions, but then it actually all does connect, and it does answer all those questions in a satisfying way. Unlike this movie. In the end, Ridley Scott has too many themes going on. Okay, you wanna know why Blade Runner is brilliant? Because it focuses on one theme and really explores that one theme to its depths. You can't do that when you have 10 different themes going on at once. You could maybe do it as a novel or a novel series, but you're not gonna do it in 2 hours. Maybe there will be a sequel to Prometheus that fills in the blanks. Maybe there'll be an extended version. Maybe there'll be a director's commentary that's gonna help us along. Or even with a sequel and even with a director's commentary and extended version, it still won't make sense. I come from a long line of pessimists, and that part of me is saying that this shit will never be answered. I'll never know the answers to any of these questions. And who wants to see a sequel that's really about explaining another movie, okay? Why doesn't that other movie just explain itself like a normal fucking movie? And you wanna know what the crazy part is? I haven't even covered everything in this movie. I haven't covered all the themes, all the subjects, all the broken bridges, all the connected bridges. There's still so much more. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my Facebook page and like that motherfucker. To spotlight the awesomeness of Flex Mentallo and the brilliance of the Grant Morrison, Frank Whitley team up. Jar Jar is the key to all of this.